It is I. I've started a new job, and I'm working in Studio City, California. Pretty nice neighborhood, as you can see here. A bad-looking place. None of these is the house I'm working at, but it's just around the corner. Because I'm working outdoors, I'm working in the front of the house. I don't want to look like I'm totally crazy by making videos at work. I'm at my lunch break. Got my big gulp. I just pounded down a hot dog. Now, I'm aware that this is Philosophy Friday, and I don't really have a lot on my mind today. What really is kind of in my head is I had posted one of these things yesterday that I'd made last week. It was the one called Hate. Delicious, life-giving hate. And a couple of gay guys came on my thread once I posted it on Facebook. I mean, you hear me talk about Facebook. I'm fascinated with the whole Facebook experiment that we're doing. And I had posted it on Facebook. And a couple of guys found me, one of whom I know, and the other I don't know. I think the guy just friended me because we share the same last name. Painter. No. But these guys were really on a tear. One of them in particular just really, really mad at me. Because on that thing I happened to talk about how gay people have sort of used the Democratic Party or the liberal left or whatever you want to call it as their sort of army. You know, it's the rent a rage army, really. You know, if you come at those folks with and you convince them enough of how terribly put upon you are, and there's anything about your particulars that is liable to rile up Republicans, then they're in. They're in. They wouldn't be interested in you if you were a downtrodden group of evangelical Christians. They would basically say, nah, fuck you. That's basically what they would say. But if you're gay, well, there's some sense that evangelical Christians may not like you for some reason, maybe some sort of biblical thing. Then you are on the list. Yes, we will go to the streets for you guys. What's your problem? So anyway, that had been part of the thing that I had put up there, and these guys, I don't think they ever got past the point where I sort of did an imitation of a gay person on the tape, and not my finest moment, really not my finest moment, and it was kind of a lame one too. But my point was that it was an affect, and that my claim was that gay people have a taste for the theater. Theatrics. I mean, it's pretty easy to see that certainly a good portion of them do. But boy, this guy's just went crazy. The general, what really happened was that this guy coming onto my thread and calling me names all night. He called me an asshole maybe 10 times, at least 5 times. I don't want to exaggerate in case anybody tracks me down and checks out my threads. Make sure I'm being honest here. But he called me an asshole of biblical proportions. Now, I'm not exactly sure what an asshole of biblical proportions would be, but apparently I am one. He proved my point really a lot by the offense taken in that video. Also, I was talking about how we've developed this, the people on the left have developed this sense of, you know, who can be more helpless. As it used to be that men wanted to prove themselves to be not easily troubled by what people thought about them. All of my major guys are like that. You know, I don't have to take much stock in anybody who cares much if I take stock in them or not. I mean, the whole thing that makes people interesting to me is that they don't much care if I'm interested in them. They do what they're gonna do. You know, there's a car going by. Isn't that interesting? Yeah, I'm just out here on the street. That's what being strong is, right? When I grew up, and especially even later when we got into a sort of a philosophical question about it. We heard such phrases as, don't let people live in your head rent-free. Why do you care what people think about you? Be who you are. Be your genuine self, and whatever anybody else thinks of you is their business. It's nothing that you should concern yourself with. That's a weak suck thing to be concerned about that. But it's not like that anymore. Now it's, grown men will come out and tell you that you're, simply by saying a word or an opinion, that you will virtually destroy them. You're ruining my life by having called me, in this case, theatrical. That's what I called. I said gays are theatrical. And, there's places around the world, right, where people hang gays from, building cranes and shoot them in the streets and certainly imprison them. But me saying that the group of people most known for their life on Broadway and their dominance in performance arts of the particularly theatrical variety, me calling gays theatrical enraged this guy to the place that he was up all night lecturing me about it. I went to sleep and I woke up in the morning. He'd apparently been up to, hours after I went to bed. That we've come to the place now, we're so turned around that we think strength has to do with how loud we squall in demanding our every wish be granted, in demanding that you change your life to make me more comfortable, or I will up the volume of my temper tantrum. And this is how I now call myself strong. Because my temper tantrum gets results because I beat your ass down with it. I call you racist or homophobic until you shut up, and I walk over you on the way to wherever it is I'm going. It's a country of infants, and I'm not wiggling out of the responsibility that it may have been a bad idea to do a rather lame impression of a gay voice. Yeah, okay, I got that. When I posted it, I sort of apologized. I said, hey, ignore the lame gay imitation. I wasn't meaning to offend anybody. And it wasn't an anti-gay rant at all. It was a rant against, not even against anything, it was just an explanation of why a certain type of activist is so tuned into anybody who's a victim and is so eager to fight their causes, which enables them to go ahead and express human anger. And they can't otherwise, because the whole basis of that ideology is that they accept everything and that everything is the same to them. There's this sort of pitched attempt at moral equivalency of all things, except, of course, if you are a conservative. Then you are a demon, and so that's the trapdoor for them. That's the hatch, the escape hatch from the self-inflicted prison of that sort of fake idea of what being a human is. That you have to be passive and weak and meek and mild and loving, and your whole life is just one long, glad hand, and you never say anything to anybody. Well, I was right. I am right. They reserve the right to come at Republicans. And I'm perceived now as being a Republican, so I'm fair game. And this guy really proved my point. But the thing I wanted to think about today, and this is not Philosophy Friday kind of stuff, of course, but just what a mistake it is to cast your own life in that light, that I will be the perpetually aggrieved human being, ever ready to find somebody who is offending me, and then that person will be made to pay. I won't be proving myself to be weak with that, I will be looking for that opportunity to prove myself strong by squawking about it so loud that it changes the scenario. So anyway, that's all I got today. I got to go back to work. So that's all that time I can put in. This thing's not turning off. I don't know what. I think I'm pushing the wrong thing. Oh, subscribe to my channel, and that would be really cool. Now I'm going to see if I can figure out where the off button is.